Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
All right, let's get started. Just going to share my screen real quick. So today we're going to be talking about how to use Remarcable and the send to field leader function to kind of improve the workflow between your crews and getting your supplies on site. The first thing that we need to do is just navigate to any project that you would want to be using this feature for. It's a very simple workflow itself. Generally, what ends up happening is you can take the material ordering responsibility that you have yourself and kind of delegate it to your field staff. So instead of getting handwritten notes, scratch pads of what they need for material, or even like requests for tools, you can kind of empower your team to make it a little bit more streamlined. And all you have to do is then send in the formal request into tools, to the vendor, or even prefab. So to begin, I'm just going to assume that I am an apprentice at this point, or a journeyman who is doing some work. I would be able to first create my own list of material that I would need for the project I'm working on. So I'm just going to add some EMT. I'm also going to add a couple of elbows. Let's just add one or two here. And then I can add as much stuff as I want. Generally, now I have a list, and most foremen would see that this is the list that they would send over to their vendor with the proceed to checkout. But instead is now I'm able to, as an apprentice or journeyman, send this to field leader for approval. And what this does is sends it into a open order status that then allows you to review it and forward it over to the appropriate vendor for purchasing. So once I hit send to field leader for approval, it's going to be filling out all the same information. This is completely editable by you in the future. So they just have to hit send. Sorry, cost code is enabled on this one. And now you can see at the top, it has pending as a order here. On your screen, what would end up showing is an order right here that is not approved by field leader, and it comes up with these triangles. So on your side, you would be able to see any order that comes up with that triangle is one that you would be able to edit. And from there, it's just editing the entire order right before you hit next and sending it to the vendor. So what this allows you to do is have your field gather a list of materials for you in a much easier and streamlined process that you can either edit, change, adapt, or even teach from. So if someone put together a list of materials for you, you'd be able to be like, okay, you got this, this, this. We also need to consider buying this as well as this. So not only can this be like a teachable thing, but it also starts to build some trust in your team itself, as well as allows you to not have to write down stuff or search through Remarcable for every single material that your team is requesting. This works for materials purchasing. It also works for tools itself. So I can also send tools for field leader for approval. So again, here is the order for field leader approval. Since I'm the admin, it's going to go straight through, but this is what it would look like for your apprentices that you would see on your order side for requests. And until you actually send this through, Mike will not receive this order. And the same thing is for prefab. So you can actually empower your team to put in prefab requests for MC that you can then approve whether or not you want to send this order over to prefab to use, such as strut cuts, conduit bends, and boxes if they want, allowing them to take a little bit more authority, or not, I would say authority, a little bit more action on trying to get the project ahead of schedule. Is there any questions about the field leader approval?
Yeah. Hey, Corey.
Yep.
What happens if they accidentally hit send to supplier or something? Can they do that, or does that feature not work for them in the field?
Yeah, here, let me just change my settings real quick and I can show you what they would see. I'm going to go to apprentice. I'm just going to navigate to the apprenticeship project. So now I'm in the project here as apprentice level permissions. I can't send it to internal purchasing even if I wanted to. It will stop me from going that far. Actually, sorry, 1 second. I am a project owner, so I can do that. Let me do it one more time for you. Here, this is what happens. Uh, Order not approved by field leader. I think the permissions are set where this cannot go any further than this on your side. Just because I'm an admin, it's a little bit different for what happens here, but I've tested it with the fourth year projects or the fourth years here at the school, and they can't get past that internal. So typically what they would end up seeing is when they go to add that material there, is that internal purchasing or that supplier is not there. Internal purchasing is sending to us internally to buy, and the same thing is for field leader. This just makes it a little bit. This will ping you that, hey, there's an order waiting for you to approve.
Hey, Corey, it's Tom.
Yep.
Sorry. So this is kind of builds off of what Todd asked. I was going to ask that same exact question, but is that something like for everybody that has that, do you set up those parameters or do I have to set that up with an apprentice or journeyman to go in to make sure the settings to where he can't just send that order to the vendor?
Yeah, so overall, like the company level permissions for that person should be set to the to the appropriate permission setting. So your apprentices all have, permissions based on what apprentices should do. Uh, Journeymen have a little bit more availability of like reading different stuff, but generally, if you do not have like a foreman permission set in Remarkable, you can't send orders out for, for bidding. That's where we can set the permission for purchasing authority. Where the field leader is for approval is down here, is pretty much any project owner is able to put an order through for that project. And this is who is defaulted as the field leader for approval. So anybody here on the project owner for that specific project can approve that order to go through.
So you set that though?
You can set that
Or is that
yourself.
something I set that myself on each job?
Yeah, so if you go, what's one of your jobs, Tom? Let's go take a look at it.
So do 23-0048.
So under here, you can see who the project owners are.
Okay.
So you can see it's Mark, Mike, Anthony Crudell, you, Sean, Miguel, right?
Yep.
And then if you go into settings, down below here, there should be allow or require field leader approval for assets or items. These are turned off right now for most projects, so this is not even a function that's happening unless you turn it on yourself. Once you turn this on, you're able to select what field leader you want this sent to. So you can choose yourself.
Okay.
You can also choose if, maybe Sean is going to be doing this for you, or even Anthony. You can choose who the approvals have to get sent through for approval before they go out. If no one is set, if it's just empty here, this is then just sent to any of the project owners for approval by default.
Okay, so technically, so if I wanted to, like say I was going on vacation, right?
Yep.
And I put somebody in the lead for that week, I could add them to the project owner so they could order stock.
Yes.
Okay.
As
All
long
right,
as
that's
they have the correct permission, we
Yep.
can definitely check that they have the purchasing permission. But I
Okay.
believe all project owners are allowed to purchase for a project. And
Okay.
I've changed the setting where you automatically get added to projects to requesting it. So you have to request access to be a project owner, unless you are a certain foreman permission level.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Good
All right,
questions.
that was it for me. Sorry about that.
No, good questions. Does anyone else have any other questions about this? All right. Yep. It was a pretty short training, but if you guys want to attempt this or try it, please reach out to me if you have any problems, or I can walk you kind of through the first few times you use it to get comfortable with it. So, thank you guys. Have a good one, and see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.